one revolution.
Bookmarklets on standby.
Log online, fan page loaded and ready.
Player stats, loaded. Health check, go.
Weapons check. Eyes check, complete.
We have launched for the Informant podcast in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Informant podcast. I'm Pistol Pete from Spockholm. Jana is taking the evening off, so I am here with Jennifer, the Mafia Wars Loot Lady. What's going on, Jen?
Not a whole lot.
Liar. Lies.
That was a lie.
Mafia War lies.
I just always say that.
I know.
What's going on?
And then you're like, oh, yeah, and then you can take like 40 minutes to tell them what's really going on.
Well, in my real life, nothing is going on because I've spent so much time vlogging. My poor dogs. They didn't get a walk for the past 2 days.
Holy mackerel.
But we have a doggy door, and they get to run freely in the yard.
So they
but
are
they like
surviving.
the walks.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't be this way. I shouldn't have to live like this because, you know, we go through periods of nothing, 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 and then boom, we just got hit with so much stuff. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it kind of was a big pile of it.
Oh my gosh. And the thing that makes me the most mad about it all is the night before they released the London districts, the 3 new districts in London, they slipped in a pay-to-play secret district. Now, if you knew there were 3 new districts coming the next day, you probably wouldn't have bought it. I wouldn't have. So now I'm stuck with having to do the Snake Island on top of everything else.
Yeah.
And I feel that was sneaky. They probably should have put that pay-to-play secret district out with the other one. Or waited, because, you know, when there's new stuff, people want to do it.
Right, yeah, I mean, most people are going to be focusing their attention on the new districts in London, so then why even release a secret district? Why not save it for when things slow back down again?
Or even the same day, because once you purchase it, you have 12 days. So if they would have put those 2 out at the same time, then people could have chosen what they wanted to do. I would have held off on buying Snake Island.
Right.
But I didn't know. I was clueless. So now my Snake Island has been ignored, and I might not finish it, and then it wouldn't be worth the value. Because you do buy those pay-to-play secret districts for the skill points.
Right.
And to kill time when there's nothing going on in the game. We could have used that like a week ago.
Yeah.
That's just my rant. I mean, I have many rants, but
many runs.
That one made me the most mad, too, because then you can go to bed thinking nothing new could possibly come out. And then you wake up to like 3 new districts and 2 new properties.
Yeah, and new collections. And
and then the occasional Spockholm pushing stuff out. I'm like, I can't do this anymore.
You can't take the pressure. Yes, we did add something new.
Yes, what is it?
To the toolbar, there was a new feature added called the Union Hall 2.0. And so for those that don't really know what we're calling Union Hall, if you log into your Mafia Wars game on the homepage, that block that's on the right-hand side, which gives you an opportunity to build or collect on your properties and stuff right from it, is called Union Hall. That's what Zynga named it. Well, we kind of did a Spocketized version of it, so it's the same thing, and if you have the toolbar installed, what we've now given you the capability to do is when you're collecting those properties, you actually have an option now to collect the individual items when you want them. So you can apply your Taskmaster. There's a button there for that. It shows as a 2x. And then there's other buttons to collect your stamina and energy, depending on which particular city you're trying to collect for. So it creates some new buttons there that lets you have a little bit more control over collecting your items. You know, you're always welcome to still use, not install toolbar, and you just won't be able to collect individually on the items, or you can go in and use the property manager to go in and collect on them, but that also doesn't let you do it on individual items. It lets you do it on the whole, all of the city. So that's really the big news that came out of the toolbar. So.
It's nice because the new London properties and Chicago, you can't collect individually, and you get some energy and stamina on the London properties.
Right. So for those that are planning, they're strategically planning on how they level and stuff like that, that can be part of your now strategy in the game on how to get going on it. it's one of those things that you never know. This may be something that just over time Zynga just decides to mimic and leave in the game themselves, because it would be nice to have these kinds of features added to their Union Hall.
Well, they started to make something nice with the Union Hall, and like many other things, they stopped updating it. And it was launched in August.
Yeah.
And what was it, Ike that posted the image of the code of Union Hall? And when they removed Italy from the game, rather than rewrite the code, they just covered up Italy.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a blank. Well, if you don't use the toolbar, you'll see a blank area. And they didn't really change the code. They just blacked out the Italy part.
Well, and the other one is that Vegas is, if you have the toolbar installed, the Vegas option is removed because it's not really something
So who cares?
people go and collect on much anymore, because you can only get so much money over there anyway.
Another thing that we should point out is, believe it or not, there are still players who haven't received Union Hall on their accounts. And so if you're one of those people, you won't be able to use this option on the toolbar.
Right.
And I don't know why they've let this go on so long. Union Hall was pushed August of last year. So
Well, why does Jana still have mini packs?
Exactly. It takes longer to have a kid than to get Union Hall. The other way around. But with something like that, they really should push that out to all players. And on their end, they still have a buttload of players that haven't received the VIP offer. And the ones who want to buy it are really getting mad about it.
Yeah. That's something we've talked about that many times before. I just don't understand why they do things like that. I mean, I get if you're going to do a slow roll on something. We've had that conversation before. We've even done that at Spockholm. If there's something that we think is going to cause undue server load or whatever else, sometimes we'll just, trickle it out to a beta test group first, so that, or we've trickled it out to the toolbar users so that, we've got somebody that can test with it, as opposed to just unleashing it on the masses. But, for something like this, that they're committed, and I mean, after 9 months in the game, you're telling me you're thinking about possibly removing it, then, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, and they probably just forgot. They stopped updating it, so they probably don't.
Well, and I think they've probably got a lot of code that's, kind of been mashed together from what was the original Mafia Wars to begin with, that started the whole thing, to what they've kind of thrown and patched and shoved in the middle of, instead of, it all being a nice, clean, designed application on the back end. So I'm sure there's some lingering stuff that has to be dealt with in that case. But that's just design strategy. So I don't know. So what else we got? I mean...
Oh, just about 20 things.
Well, let's hear them.
Well, we'll start big and then go small. The major thing that happened this week was
That's what she said?
No, isn't it the other way around?
I don't know.
Okay, the London Districts 4, 5, and 6 were released. And not a whole lot to say about those. It's pretty much like the first 3, Chicago, Brazil. Nothing changed from the layout or the format. The bandits are there, and people are getting really mad because they can't serial level. But that's most likely why the bandits were added. I can think of no other reason, but they're very annoying. If you have a small mafia, it's almost impossible to keep your queue filled with members. So it puts those with the small mafia at a disadvantage. When you finish the first 2 jobs in the first 2 districts, you'll unlock 2 new properties, the underground station, and that will generate energy, and the bank will, or the Royal Bank will generate stamina. And the difference this time around compared to Brazil is in Brazil you get a percentage of your pools, and in London you get a flat rate. So the most you could get on a fully upgraded property is 1,000 energy or 1,000 stamina. And then if you activate your Taskmaster, you'll get 2,000 of each. And for the first few days, players that have energy and stamina pools less than 2,000 were noticing that their extra was being removed as soon as they did a game action. And I believe that's been fixed. At least I haven't seen any complaints today, and Brandon checked it out today, and it was sticking. But we've seen that bug a lot in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were smart and you collected your upgrade parts from the first 3 properties, you should have had enough extra to just get to level 10. We recommended people do that, and the ones who did are fully upgraded. The ones who aren't, you can still use the gift blaster, and we have special links to get those parts. They're not on the free gift page.
Mm-hmm.
And the loot is pretty good. Not all of it, but there's like a lot of good henchmen with stats over 120. But as with all these cities, the energy costs are ridiculous and the drop rates are even worse. So unless you're a big time serial leveler, you may not be able to max out on all this loot. I mean, I only have 6,000 energy, so I don't even try to max on job loot. I just do it to get everything done, because I figure by the time I would be able to get enough loot to make a difference, they're going to have something bigger and better.
Yeah.
And then there's 3 new collections, 4 new achievements that came a couple days late. And one thing that's interesting is if you go to your city store, there are 2 henchmen and 1 armor item that have pretty good stats. And there's 1 henchman that will probably help almost everybody. And you can buy them with London pounds. Unless you're one of the people that Zynga somehow lost all your London pounds, you're going to have to start over. So right now, London cash is kind of a big thing. More so than we're used to seeing. But I imagine we'll have new loot to replace it soon anyways. So that's London. And that now they finally decided that the Ice Seasons event wouldn't cause server problems, so we got Ice Season 19. And it was funny, they released Ice Season 18 first.
Yep.
And if you had already completed it, it was just done, but people thought at the time that maybe Zynga was pushing it back out so people that didn't finish it would have a chance. So they started icing, buying stamina refills. Well, they pulled it and then automatically added the 19th ice season, but nobody got credit for the ices they got. But if you were able to complete it before they pulled it, you did get the loot item.
Okay.
Or at least the stats increased. And so Ice Season 19 is different in that we only have to get 1,000 ices versus 1,500 for a 2-week span. The only 2 types of ice seasons we've had so far has been 2 weeks, 1,500 ices, or 1 week, 1,000 ices. So they went with 1,000 in 2 weeks. Which still, if you do family progression every day, the ice season wouldn't be a big deal in a week. But they really need to work on having a way to get this family progression thing done without getting 150 ices, or make it easier to get ices. And there were a lot of fighting bugs for a couple days, and they said that they were doing maintenance for performance improvements for fighting. And apparently that's all done, but nobody's said that fighting's that much better. And I know people are still complaining about it. And it's just hard for people to get 150 ices. You have all the people with too much health, and then the ones you can ice are already iced, and it's making high-level players go after the little levels, and it's just bad for the game. They really need to do something about that.
Yeah.
And I like the robbing idea that so many have had. I don't know who came up with it first. I think it was Pistol Pete, but there was probably some guy before him that wants credit. But that would easily relieve much of the fighting. People would go to robbing to do their family progression, and you wouldn't have all these attacks on small players, and you wouldn't have all the, time and heartache it takes to get these. If they want to keep players, that's what they need to do.
Yeah.
Okay, as I mentioned before, we got the pay-to-play Secret District Snake Island. If you fully mastered it before, it'll cost 35 reward points to do it again. And it is a good deal because you get 36 skill points, you get another mastery item, and if you didn't collect the 50 loot items before, you can do it now and you'll get those additional 15 skill points. So I went ahead and bought it. I would have waited. Once you buy it, you get 12 days to finish it.
Yeah, I've been focusing on getting that.
Metal Mafia stuff.
Yeah, because of the what's the name of that one item that you get?